Hi everybody, my name's Pip Coombs and I'm going to be doing some book reviews today. Just so you know, I actually listen to these books as audiobooks, and there's a couple of reasons why I did that. The primary reason was I just got back from a holiday in America where I did a road trip, and it's much easier to drive and listen and much safer than to drive and read, so I listen to audiobooks. The other reason is that I actually have dyslexia, so sometimes I will read a page 9,000 times and get absolutely nothing from it, so it can be a bit annoying, and it really kicks in more when I'm tired, and I was tired before I went on holidays. And also I'm an auditory and a kinesthetic learner, so if I can hear it, I will absorb it better and understand it better. So it's just easier for me to give my brain the information it wants in the format it likes, particularly when it's tired. So that's why I listened in audiobooks. So I'm also not going to talk in huge detail about what happens in the books because I don't know if you've read them or listened to them, and I don't want to spoil them for you, so I'm going to try not to. So the first book that I listened to was The Push by Tommy Caldwell, and wow, I just loved this book. It is, the movie The Dawn Wall is like a companion piece to The Push. They have very similar narrative because it's the same story, but one is movie format and one is in book format, and I just love this book, and I would not say that I am at all interested in wandering down the path of losing myself in stories of rock climbing at all. I don't rock climb. I have friends that do, but I mean, I can't say that I particularly care one way or another about rock climbing, but this book is incredible. So Tommy Caldwell is a rock climber who has actually less than half of his index finger, and he and Kevin Jorgensen climbed the Dawn Wall on El Capitan in Yosemite National Park. So the Dawn Wall is like, I just stood at the bottom of this huge mountain like 10 days ago, and I looked straight up, and it's just insane that people can climb this. It is insane that Alex Honnold climbed part of El Capitan, like a section of El Cap, without a rope at all. Like, I don't understand. But when you look at the Dawn Wall, it is such a sheer rock face. It is like, it just doesn't look like it's conceivably possible to climb it. And Tommy and Kevin actually climbed it. It's called free climbing. So they had ropes, but they had to climb it without failing, so without falling and then continuing on. So they had to complete each section of the climb without mucking it up, basically. And yeah, I don't want to ruin the story too much, but it is like the story of persistence and the incredible human spirit. And Tommy worked on this obsessively for like 7 years, and there's like, if you watch the Dawn Wall movie, it kind of makes the book just blow your mind even more, because there are sections where they're holding on to like little bits of rock that barely exist, and somehow they're holding on with like a toe and a thumb, and then they've got to switch their thumb. I don't understand. I don't understand how they can do it. And having stood at the bottom of El Cap and looking up at it just like 10 days ago, it is insanity that they could do this. It is so sheer and so flat, and it just blows my mind that they were able to do this. So the other thing I really like about The Push is Tommy Caldwell is like a shy, unassuming guy, and he's living I guess you could call it a non-conformist life. You know, he's not doing his standard 9-to-5 job. He's literally out there living his dream. He is pushing himself to achieve his goals, and they're not little goals. They're not like, you know, have enough money to pay my electricity bill or pay my mortgage. It's like climb a huge mother beeping wall that is so flat. I can't get over how flat that wall is. Anyway, but they persisted and they worked at it for 7 years, and it's just about what you can really achieve if you push yourself enough, and if you try hard enough, and if you let yourself dream a big dream. Like, you can achieve some really incredible feats. Now, I first heard about Tommy Caldwell and Alex Honnold as part of a national park documentary series called The Great Wide Open that I saw on YouTube. And if you watch that, Tommy goes into a little bit of his story about how he lost part of his finger, and about the kind of demons inside that drive you to do something as insane as climbing El Cap. And it's just really interesting. I really recommend this book. You don't have to be into rock climbing. I'm not. Again, I might be slightly biased in liking this book because of my occupation. So because my 9-to-5 job is being a physio, I am amazed by some of the physical feats that people can push their bodies through, and the way athletes can zone out and push through pain. Like, I get a blister and I'm on the floor. But yeah, so just take it with a grain of salt, but it is a great book. It's well written. It's really, really interesting. If you're not sure if you would like the book, then definitely watch The Dawn Wall. It won't take you as much time, but it is also really just so interesting and fascinating to see what these people put their bodies through. It's just incredible. They had ice raining down on them at various points. You know, you run the risk of having some creature stick its head out as you stick your hand into a crack to pull yourself up a wall. It's just incredible, and the risk attached to doing it is just out of this world. And I'm really also pumped about watching Free Solo, which is that Alex Honnold story of climbing El Cap without a rope, which is insane. So there were 2 Oprah books that I listened to on the road, called Oprah's Wisdom of Sundays and What I Know for Sure, that I listened to while I was driving. And I listened to them because I kind of love Oprah, and I was just in a bit of a funky place, and I wanted to find a way through the funky place. And in the end, I found my way through the funky place, and I don't think it had much to do with Oprah, but maybe it did, who knows. Anyway, I'm going to kind of lump these 2 books together because they're both kind of a summary of her Super Soul Sundays and her aha moments. So in some cases, the book is actual physical chunks of those interviews, like you're just listening to it and that's a chapter. So it didn't really rock my world, but that is possibly because I've already heard the information before, because I'd already seen the snippets of the Super Soul Sunday conversations that I was interested in. And I was kind of hoping for something a little bit different. But anyway, I do love some of the questions that Oprah asks, like, what do you know for sure? It's such an innocent seeming question, but really you could go so deep on it. And she has a number of other questions in the book that she asks her guests that are actually really kind of thought-provoking and interesting, and I did enjoy that part. But basically, I'm not going to go into much more detail on those books because I'd heard it before. Good Lord, it is hot as hell today. Like, Australia was cooling right down. Like, I went and filled up my firewood buckets the other day, got prepped to turn the fire on last night, and now today it's like 1,000 degrees. Ugh. Anyway, so the next book I'm going to review is Wild by Cheryl Strayed. I had actually seen the movie before I left for holidays, and then downloaded the book while I was on holidays. I bloody loved this book. It was amazing. So she is a woman who just got lost. She lost her mother when she was quite young, and that just spiraled her. So she hit the self-destruct button, got hooked on sex and drugs, and just got really messed up, and then just decided to do the PCT hike, and hiked it alone, which is insane. And she was carrying this backpack that weighed more than half of her own body weight, because she felt like she needed to find a way to carry this burden that she couldn't bear, but she needed to find a way to bear it. And I just, like, the battle for her and the journey she went through was so interesting. And also, like, if you're female, you've been in situations before where you kind of feels a little dicey, and she had a few of those on the road, but she's in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the bush by herself. Like, you can't call for help. It's a very interesting book. Again, I don't want to go into too much detail. I don't want to ruin it. but it's basically about getting lost and finding yourself, and sometimes the battle that's required and the suffering that's required and the struggle that you have to endure to find yourself. And so I found that really, really interesting. Again, I will preface this with a slight asterisk. There is a possibility that I loved this book because I relate to it. So I had cancer when I was 24. They told me that I was all clear. I knew I wasn't. I could still feel it in my body. But, you know, you can't just say, I'm sorry, Mr. Doctor, I still feel it in me. Well, I do now, but anyway, that's another story. But they told me to go off and live my life and enjoy. And I knew I wasn't done, but I was so traumatized by what I'd been through. And the entire time I've been getting treatment, I've been focusing on the Camino de Santiago, which is a trek across the top of Spain from the French Pyrenees. Now, that had been my goal, that had been my light at the end of the tunnel, to get through everything that I was going through. And I did, I think it's like 780 kilometers. I think I did about 500, 550. I started in Burgos instead of in the French Pyrenees. And I walked. And I walked every day like Cheryl Strayed walked on the PCT. And there's some sort of salvation for your soul in doing something like that. So I kind of relate to the idea of being so lost that you don't know how to re-find yourself, being broken, being beaten down by life, and just walking to hope that you'll find something at the end. So the Camino de Santiago is infinitely less dangerous than the PCT. There are way more hikers along the way. You don't have to get your compass out and navigate like she does on the PCT. And you're never that far from water and civilization like Cheryl was in Wild. It wasn't me against nature like it was for her. But still, I get it. I feel like listening to this book, I the whole time I was just sitting there going, yeah, girl, I get you. Like, you had to walk it off. I get it. Didn't make me want to do the PCT at all. Not even a little bit. Not interested in the PCT. It did reignite my desire to do the Camino again, which I have had ever since doing the Camino. I wanted to do it again from the beginning, but it was so perfect the first time, it's hard to imagine that it could be that perfect again. But it is a great book, and if you like books about human struggle and pain and ways in which we overcome that, and adventure stories that are based in real life, like, this is a great book. I loved it. I give it like 4.5, 5 stars. Loved it. So the books I've got coming up, so the to be read books. So I've got Beautiful Boy by David Sheff. Now, I watched the movie on my flight from Australia to America 5 weeks ago. And how Timothée Chalamet didn't get an Oscar nomination, I will never understand. That boy was robbed, because holy shit, that movie was so good. I was trying very, very hard not to sob on the plane. So if it's true that the book is better than the movie, I'm in trouble. I'm going to be on the floor for a week. So I'm picking my time with when I start Beautiful Boy, but I'm also like really looking forward to it as well. Into the Wild by John Krakauer. Sorry. It's also on the list, but so clearly I'm into like real life adventure books at the moment. Probably something to do with the fact that I felt like I really, really, really needed a break from work when I left for my holiday, and my holiday was all about exploring into the national parks and wandering around by myself. Yeah, but I mean, I've seen the movie for this one. I'm interested to see what the book's about. I've heard that they're a little different, but the book is interesting. The one I am trying to make my way through at the moment is The Aftermath by Rian Brooke. For once, I wanted to read the book first before seeing the movie, and I love me some Alexander Skarsgård, and I think Keira Knightley is the queen of period pieces, and the movie is coming out really soon. So I wanted to see I wanted to read the book first before seeing the movie, but I'm struggling, so I'm like a third through, and I left it alone for a few weeks, so I don't know if I'll make it through. we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget that The Hunted is my debut novel and it's available everywhere: Amazon, Kindle, Apple Books, the Book Depository. Please hit subscribe or give me a thumbs up so that I know that you're liking this content, and please comment below if there are any other books you think I should read or anything I should review, or if you disagreed with my assessment of these books. I'd be really interested to hear your opinion. Let me know. Drop a comment below and I will see you guys soon. Bye.